I love the comment section on this channel. It's the most worthwhile part of the channel, and I especially love the comments about, man, I watch your channel and I remember my granddad, or I just remembered something that I hadn't thought of since I was 4, and it's fulfilling to me because I had 2 granddads. One died when I was yay high, and the other when I was just a little taller, but I was in one of their shops 3 times, and I remember how it felt, and I remember how it smelled. We're going to walk around this shop right now, and I'm going to point out what it is that I think is making that particular fragrance, that ambiance that I take for granted and the people who visit my shop notice. So that maybe you'll have a fighting chance of setting up a shop that your grandkids will remember primarily, or at least partially, because of how it smelled. So I'm guessing that the biggest contributor to the way this shop smells is the coal forge. I mean, there is something about coal smoke. I mean, Charles Dickens knew it. He cursed it. London was plagued by it. But in this shop, it adds. So between the coal smoke and the rust that's everywhere and the dust that kind of comes up from the gravel floor. Now, I'm not bragging about dust from a gravel floor, but these things all contribute to our olfactory response that imprints on our memory. And so the blacksmith shop is kind of dominant here. So we're going to go through and talk about some of the other things that happen and materials that are in here that are also dominant in the way that it smells. So I'm going to imagine, since I'm standing here, that next are the solvents and the oils and the boot grease and the WD-40. There's lots of petroleum products in here, and they all have a slightly different fragrance. EAU Day petroleum, you got to love that. We got Bondo, we got fiberglass, we've got all kinds of things, and it all just makes this wonderful sort of a magic sauce. Some kids come in here and say, wow, this smells like fireworks. Part of that is because propane. I use my weed burner a lot. I start my forge with it. This is a propane forge. Propane is scented, right? In the same way that natural gas is scented for safety, propane's the same thing. That's fairly distinctive. I've got a power hammer here that, as you can see, puts oil all over. So not only does it make this wonderful bashing, thumping, crushing sound that is part of blacksmithing, but it smells like work. That's what your grandpa's shop did. It smelled like work. There are all kinds of dusts. There's a dust of a carborundum cutoff wheel. Safety squints. But those sparks, besides being beautiful, I mean, is it good for you? I don't know. But life's too short to live in a plastic bubble, right? You can't live in a plastic bubble and get in contact with what makes the world go round. So that's what we're talking about. What makes the world go round? There are subtle smells like leather over in the wood shop and old hemp rope. There's a particular smell. Now, I don't know what the smells are for scrap iron and brass, but there's certainly something. We've got more hydrocarbons. We've got hydraulic oil in this press. There's not much of it leaking. We've got the ozone smell that when you start a big electric motor, sometimes you can smell some ozone, like over on my drill press. Cutting torch, acetylene, a different kind of smoke, a different kind of smell, a different kind of capacity. Probably your granddad had a cutting torch. Now, yes, the particulates from a wood smoke are not good in the alveoli of your lungs. I get that. But the other thing that's not good is not having the wonderful experience of sitting in front of a wood fire and filing the tang on a sword, or visiting with your friends, or frying steak right on the top of an old wood stove. I think it is a better thing to have those experiences than to go through life with a mask on so you never actually bring anything into your body that might cause you to die. Because guess what? Guess what, my friends? We're all going to die anyway. But not everybody is going to get to sit here and visit with their friends and eat a piece of steak grilled right on the stove. So if your grandpa did any welding in his shop, not necessarily with a MIG gun, but maybe with a stick, they're smokier, but there's still this wonderful smell of the smoke gases that come off a welding puddle. Now, you don't breathe that stuff if you don't have to, but fabrication generally, the grinding, the cutting, the filing, the drilling, the welding, all of it, You walk into a fab shop, you know what it smells like, and it smells like work. Now, if your grandpa did any concrete work, if he had bags of cement or, I'll say lime, maybe he would have bags of slaked or unslaked lime. These are bags of refractory that I'm going to use to cast another forge. And all of it, whether the concrete is set up and you're sweeping it, or if it's still in the bag and you're moving it around, there's a smell. And smells trigger memories, and smells sort of inspire us to either dive in or run away, right? But they all contribute. Come on into the wood shop because there's a lot of great smells in here. So this is the domain of wood dust. Douglas fir, cedar, oak. What are the other species I use a lot of? Black walnut has a distinctive smell. I've got some Port Orford cedar. All of these things, when you get used to it, you can identify what kind of work is going on just by the way the room smells. Now, I need to do better on dust control and getting the sawdust out. It's a big part of woodwork. This table saw stop, they sent this to me. It's beautiful. It's been a big plus because a dust collector really gets the dust out of the saw stop. But in general, a wood shop has the smells of electric tools, routers. When you're running a router and the fan of the router is cooling the machine and pushing it right into your face, you're smelling the ozone, you're smelling the chips you're making. And then the stains and the lacquers and the oils and the linseed oil and the finishes. I haven't moved into this yet, but oak with a Duraseal on it, it just smells good and it feels good, and it's such a blessing to have been able to make this Ken Jordan bench. There's nothing like a planer or a jointer to really fill your space up with the smell of what you're working on. This thing blows chunks unless you catch them, and pretty soon you're overwhelmed. There are some wood species like ironwood. Cy Swan makes almost all of his knife handles out of ironwood. That dust is toxic. It will make you sick. And so regardless of how something smells, you probably ought to be at least slightly responsible to protect your lungs, because they are the only set you're going to get. So I'm consumed with guilt, boys. I don't take good enough care of my chainsaws, and Buck and Billy Ray saw this back here, and he just shook his head and turned around and walked back out. Sorry, Buckin. I abuse him. But right now, I'm overwhelmed with the smell of bar oil, the two-stroke oil, bar oil, just the whole two-stroke exhaust, and the smell of hot chains and the sawdust. The sawdust mixed with oil, man, that smells like you're cutting timber. That smells just exactly like you're cutting timber. My wife, bless her heart, she likes the smell of diesel, and she likes the smell of two-stroke smoke and sawdust on me. She likes it. I'm grateful for it, because there were years where that's what I smelled like too much. But it gets back to the whole thing that your noses are connected to our memory more than perhaps any of our other senses. That our noses and the things that we smell trigger the memories that we either treasure or try to forget. So when I read this price tag, I feel pretty dumb, because I spent $23 for a can of Kroil, used to be Aero Kroil penetrant. It smells great, but I think it is superior. I think it beats WD-40. I've busted loose some frozen nuts and stuff that I didn't think it would work. So this Aero Kroil penetrant, it is a fragrance that they ought to use at the prom. And besides that, it gets the work done. So I would invite you that if you have memories of your granddad's shop, whether or not they pertain to how it smelled, put them in the comments, because there are some things that some of us need to remember to do or think of doing. And one is, if your granddad's still alive, go interview him, will you? You've got a phone. You can make a video, set it up on a little tripod and start it, and he'll forget about it. You'll forget about it, and just start asking him questions. Jot down some questions and ask him, and get a video record, because you guys love that old man, or at least I hope that he's a lovable old man. And then the flip side of that, once those memories have been captured, is if your granddad is not a lovable old man, make him watch this video. And now I'll talk to you, Grandpa. If you're dropping the ball, if you happen to have the excuse of, I grew up with a hard dad, I never learned to say I love you to anybody, If you're sort of relying on those excuses, knock it off. You're not dead yet. And so maybe you've got a shop. Maybe you're a good granddad. Maybe you have a relationship with your grandkids, but you've got just a little time left to bring them into your shop or your space or your office or wherever it is what you do, wherever it is that you do what you do, that you've used to make a positive contribution to the world. Granddad, do that. So we've got this set of people here, those with granddads that need to pay more attention to capturing the memories that they will wish they had captured, and the granddads who need to pay more attention to either creating or preserving or repairing relationships so that the memories that you have, Gramps, that are of value to the people who are coming behind you that you'll never meet will be available. Our shops are maybe they're silly, maybe they're worthwhile, maybe we do things there that matter, and maybe we just spend time there because that's where we like to spend time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let this video provoke you to do something worthwhile, either with or as the old man of the family. Thanks for watching, Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.